Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are looking at one of the absolutely most extraordinary strategic journeys in modern history. We're unpacking the 34-year blueprint of Thalapathy Vijay. We're going to trace his path from his early, honestly deeply scrutinized days on the silver screen, all the way to his monumental rise as the chief minister of Tamil Nadu.
So here's a fascinating puzzle for you. How exactly does an 18-year-old teenage actor, someone critics completely dismissed and just ruthlessly mocked early on, manage to orchestrate a rise to the absolute highest political office in his state 34 years later? Well, as our sources reveal, this wasn't some overnight magic trick. It was a literal masterclass in resilience, adaptation, and intense long-term planning.
Now, what's really interesting is the sheer, staggering contrast between these 2 points in time. Back in 1992, his debut film Nalaya Thirpu, which ironically translates to Tomorrow's Verdict, was a massive box office flop. He was heavily trolled for his looks and his performance. But fast forward to May 2026, he's sworn in as the 9th Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, completely shattering a 50-year-old political duopoly held by traditional parties. Seriously, how did he cross that monumental chasm?
All right, let's start with phase 1, the rough start.
To really understand this victory, we have to look back at his early days, which were heavily shaped by his father, the veteran filmmaker S.A. Chandrasekhar. When Vijay debuted, critics were merciless, writing him off as just another product of nepotism. And as this quote captures perfectly, even his own father admitted, "To be honest, I shouldn't have made that film for him, especially when he was just 18. It was literally the kind of debut that finishes careers before they even get off the ground."
But, instead of giving up, his father engineered this remarkably patient blueprint to construct a star totally from scratch. The strategy relied on 3 distinct steps. First, relentless repeated exposure. He put Vijay in 5 films over just 4 years, so audiences simply couldn't ignore him. Second, smart co-casting, like pairing him with established mass heroes like Vijayankanth to lend him immediate credibility. And third, pivoting his roles into romantic family dramas like Puve Unakaga. That shift is what ultimately won over the youth and family demographics.
Let's move to phase 2, building the base, and see how this momentum really builds.
Once Vijay secured his footing, he started capturing a highly unique demographic. We hear a lot about mass appeal, but this quote from a Reddit user just brings it right to life. They wrote, "I have 2 cousins aged 8 and 6. During meals, they watch Vijay's songs and movie clips, especially the hyena scene from Leo. They sometimes call him Thalapathy too." This beautifully illustrates his organic, multi-generational appeal. He captured the minds of young kids, a demographic that would quite literally grow up to become his core voting base.
So what was the secret sauce? Fans affectionately call it the older brother vibe. He combined clean comedy with highly stylized action sequences and incredibly catchy, danceable songs. It's a brilliant lesson in brand building, really. He balanced this superhero persona on screen in films like Gilly and Pokery, but kept an accessible boy-next-door charm. That unique cocktail created fierce loyalty across entirely different generations, turning little kids into lifelong fans who aged right alongside him. And this brilliantly illustrates phase 3, the pre-marketing. As his fan base matured, so did his cinema. It evolved into a highly sophisticated political tool. To understand this, we're looking at a fascinating academic study published in the International Journal of Research and Innovation in Social Science. Researchers analyzed his filmography and revealed what they basically call a decade-long masterclass in strategic political pre-marketing. They looked at the arc of his movies, from Mercil all the way up to The Greatest of All Time, and identified a very intentional, carefully curated communication strategy. The core of that academic analysis rests on this specific concept, ideological layering. Essentially, this is the strategic embedding of political ideologies directly into commercial entertainment. And the ultimate goal? To deliberately blur the lines between an actor's real persona and their real persona. Vijay used his massive blockbusters as vehicles. Whether playing a crusader against corruption or taking stances on real-world policies, he was carefully engineering political legitimacy in the public's mind years before officially entering the electoral arena. When you map it out chronologically, the long-term strategy becomes incredibly clear. In the 90s, he's the romantic hero. The 2000s, he transitions into an action star. But 2009, that is a critical turning point. He launched the Vijay Makal Ayakam, a fan club that effectively operated as a massive welfare organization, running tuition centers and offering legal aid.
This was basically a grassroots primary party infrastructure testing his administrative reach. Then, from 2017 to 2024, we see that intense ideological layering in his films, culminating in 2026 as a formidable political contender. So, the crucial point is right here in Phase 4, the final verdict. This is where theory turns into reality. But stepping out from the shadow of cinema into the harsh light of politics required a huge, unprecedented personal step. Vijay actually filed a civil lawsuit against his own parents. His father had attempted to register a political party in Vijay's name without his full consent. To establish absolute political autonomy, Vijay took the incredibly difficult legal step of restraining them from using his name or image for any political activity. He had to temporarily sever his own brand to ensure his newly formed party was entirely, undeniably his own. That party is Tamilaga Vetri Kajagam, or TVK. Looking objectively at their stated platform, they align with a center-left ideology, actively drawing on the principles of historic leaders like Ambedkar, Periyar, and Kamaraj. They prioritize social justice, egalitarianism, secularism, anti-corruption, and maintaining Tamil Nadu's traditional two-language policy. And just a quick note, we are looking at the blueprint of his appeal here. We aren't endorsing the platform itself, just explaining the strategy. And then came the May 2026 Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly elections. 108. That is the staggering number of assembly seats TVK won in its very first electoral outing. This bold outcome made them the single largest party in the state assembly, fundamentally shattering the half-century-old political duopoly that had rigidly defined Tamil Nadu politics for decades. Absolutely wild. And it didn't stop there. They secured 34.92% of the popular vote. This massive figure completely upended the predictions of seasoned political analysts. So many assumed his film fame just wouldn't translate to the ballot box, or that he'd merely split votes among the established parties. Instead, he mobilized that massive, generation-spanning fan base directly into an unstoppable electorate. It truly brings the whole narrative full circle, doesn't it? Think about the incredible irony here. The man who debuted in 1992 as a heavily mocked 18-year-old in a box office flop literally titled Tomorrow's Verdict, well, tomorrow finally arrived. He transformed decades of criticism into the ultimate verdict from the people, securing the chief ministership and proving every single early critic completely wrong. So it leaves us with a fascinating, perhaps slightly provocative question to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. As the lines between commercial celebrity influence and legitimate political power continue to vanish right before our eyes, who will be the next figure to successfully turn their audience into an electorate? Thank you so much for exploring this remarkable blueprint with me. I hope this helped clarify the strategy behind all those headlines. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you in the next one.